identification documents. The boy will spend the night at the Provincial Social Development Safe House.
The 6-year-old, oblivious to his situation, he was heading to Mozambique, accompanied by a man claiming to be his father, but doesn't have any proof.
The social worker is just assessing the child, because as the child is playing there, it will be easier for the social worker to get the information from the child.
Social workers are stationed at the border until mid-January. The Department of Social Development here in Mpumalanga currently has 4 children placed at their safe homes. All of them were taken here at the Libombo border post because of unidentifiable documents. Some didn't even have documents. The department is calling on all parents or guardians taking children out of the country to have proper documentations. Those include a consent letter from the parents of the child. Traffic officers have to be vigilant.
Immediately our traffic officer SABC, they see something suspicious about crime, this thing of child trafficking or human trafficking. They alert relevant stakeholders.
Cars are queuing for just over 2 kilometers to reach the Libombo border. It will be operating for 24 hours until January 9th. Ekurhuleni, SABC News, Libombo border.
Well, more on that story. Taking it forward, of course, just this week, 14 children aged between 1.5 and 15 years old were found in a mini truck trailer in Rustenburg. The Hawks in the province say the children from Zimbabwe were being trafficked to Cape Town, also worrying. The Gauteng MEC for Community Safety, Sizakele Nkosi-Malobane, expressed concern about the escalating number of incidents of kidnapping of children in the province. Now, she encouraged parents to be cautious following 3 incidents of a child abduction and extortion reported in the Ekurhuleni North policing precinct since the beginning of this month. Now, in all 3 cases, ransoms were demanded and paid, and the children were returned to their parents unharmed. Let's explore this a bit more. We're joined now via Skype is the National Co-ordinator of Missing Children South Africa, Bianca van Aswegen. Bianca, thank you very much for your time this evening. I think quite alarming. Let's start with that story that we've just aired now. Basically, what you're finding is that as people head to the different holiday destinations, you've got one child now who is in the care of social development, because what looks to be the person who was traveling with the child did not have the correct or the documentation for that matter. All of this, of course, comes after Home Affairs had relaxed the measures relating to traveling with children. Talk to us a bit about that. What happens in a case like this?
Yes, that's a very important thing. All your documentation needs to be in order when traveling with your children, especially over our borders or through our airports, because we've got a lot of human trafficking cases happening, not just in South Africa, but also worldwide. So if you don't have the right documentation on you, then it is suspicious. Why haven't you got that? And especially it makes it very easy then for the people to take our children out of our country that are human trafficking victims.
What we've also seen as well over the past year is an increase in kidnapping for ransom. And that seems to have been quite a significant increase since the beginning of last year. Talk to us a bit about that in light of the story which we've also just aired.
Yes, we've definitely seen an increase since last year in children being kidnapped for ransom demands. We actually asked the parents to please be very vigilant on this and also report it immediately to your nearest police station. Don't just wait and try and help yourself by giving the demand to the ransom, to the kidnappers actually. Yeah. So we need to be very vigilant when it comes to this. Please do not try doing this by yourself. Contact us or contact your nearest police station so we can actually stop this and get your child back safely.
But more concerning, I think, Bianca, is that what it would seem is that in the kidnapping of these children, you have families that are linked to these kidnappings and murders. If we look at the trend, it's grown since last year. Are we correct?
Definitely. We always teach our children stranger danger. Yes, strangers are still a danger to our children, but we have to be very vigilant when it comes to our family members and family friends. There are quite a few telltale signs to look out for, especially when it comes to our children. When a person gives too much attention to a child, inappropriate comments, we need to listen to our children when they come to us and they say they feel uncomfortable with a certain person that we actually know. So we have to be very, very careful with this.
Of course, we're in a very busy time now, the festive season. You've got many families that are going to the beaches and various other areas as well. You have shopping malls as well that are quite packed at this time. You have children getting lost at these beaches as well as shopping malls. What are some of the safety tips that any mother or father or relative could use during this very busy period?
Definitely. We actually look at some of our safety tips when it comes to taking a child to the mall.
Yeah.
A child is very inquisitive, so they will wander off. So we ask the parents to please, especially when it comes to very small children, dress them in bright colored clothes so that it's easier to spot them in a group of people. Also, when you get separated from your child, always prior to going to the mall, set a specific place where you meet if you should get separated.
Yeah.
Also, when a child gets lost in a shopping mall, they should never go looking for their parents by themselves. Always go to the nearest cashier or to the nearest shop or the security guard of the mall so they can help you look for your child.
And of course, I mean, what do you do when you find yourself in that unfortunate situation? I think, many parents will, as children just wander off and are excited about the Christmas period. What is the first thing to do? I know a lot has been said about when or how much time do you wait to actually report your child missing. Just talk us through that, and what are the first things that you need to do?
The first thing that needs to be done is to report it to your nearest police station immediately, please. There's absolutely no waiting period in opening a missing persons case, whether it's an adult or a child. I know there's a rumor going around that people think they have to wait 24 hours.
That's right.
That does not exist. Please report it immediately, because the first 24 hours to 48 hours when a child goes missing is the most crucial time in finding the child. So report it to your police station immediately. Contact us, Missing Children South Africa, so we can assist from our side as well.
In the case of a kidnapping, you've already spoken about an alarming trend and increase in the number of children who've been kidnapped. If we look at the numbers starting from last year, what does one do when they find themselves in an unfortunate situation where their child has gone missing and a ransom, for example, is being demanded? I remember speaking to you just before we went to air, and in some of those cases, the police are not contacted. Is that for the safety of the child?
Yes, parents will tend on not contacting the police when it comes to a ransom demand, because obviously they get threatened by these kidnappers to not go to the police. But please, it's not something you can take on by yourself as parents. It needs to be reported to the police. We've got specialized people that deal with cases like this. It needs to be reported so it can be handled in the right way.
But does this not fuel the fire, Bianca, where you don't have the law enforcement agencies, for example? I do understand 100% the fear of the involvement of police, because I'm sure one of the demands would be that the law enforcement agencies should not be contacted, or the authorities. So does this not fuel the fire, perhaps, and lead to these increased numbers that we've seen in terms of kidnappings for ransom?
Definitely. I think that is because a lot of cases actually do not get reported because of fear of these ransom demands being asked. I know parents, any parent will fear for their lives when their child is kidnapped for ransom. So we need to be very careful on handling cases like that. But there are specialized units at the police that handle cases like that and will be anonymous in the case to help you in such an instance.
Bianca van Aswegen, who is the coordinator of Missing Children South Africa. Thank you very much for joining us during this time, especially to give some insight on something so important. We see a lot of children going missing. And what is the first thing that one does when your child goes missing? Of course, report that to the police. We've also seen over the past year an increase in the number of kidnappings for ransom, as well as involvement of family members in the murder and kidnapping of children. Let's move on to other stories.